Hello, magical people. My name is Luminix, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about pride and resilience. This is a continuation of my Pride series videos, and for those of you that have watched some or all of the others, I just wanted to send out a special thank you very much for your support and engagement. It really does just absolutely mean the world to me. You may be thinking at this point, but Lou, it's July. Why are you still making Pride videos? And I wanted this, which is probably going to be the last one for at least the moment, I wanted this one to come out in July for the simple reason that I wanted to remind people that whether you are an LGBTQ plus person yourself, or whether you are an ally and accomplice of the LGBTQ plus community, pride is something that we should hold in our hearts every day, particularly in 2025 when we are seeing so much backlash and an increase of violence and malicious targetings in one way or another. I think it's especially important to stoke the fire in our hearts of that pride and of that love that we have for ourselves, the love for ourselves that is enough that we are willing to be brave and be courageous and live authentically as who we are, or support those we care about who live authentically as they are. But because of all of that backlash, and because I personally am of the opinion that things are going to get rougher before they get better, I think that this is also an important time to have that conversation about resilience. And where I want to start with is something that I've alluded to or mentioned in previous videos, which is that queer people have always been here and queer people will always be here. Sorry, that for some reason is my work computer that just likes to periodically beep. So apologize if you're hearing some random background electronic type noises. But anyways, yes, so while it is absolutely true that queer people have always been here and queer people will always be here, it is also true that not everybody is going to survive this particular time. So when we talk about the collective of the LGBTQ plus community, of course, at the end of the day, out of all of the worries and all of the fears and all of the concerns that I feel right now, not a single one of them is about whether or not queer people as a collective will continue to exist, because that's just so not even on the table as an option. But having said that, the individual resilience is different than the collective resilience. And all we can really do at this time, we can't really control things that are happening on such a wide, large, terrible scale. But what we can do is we can build within ourselves and within our community resilience so that we can not only live during this time and live through this time, but that we can also actually do so. I don't really want to use the word thrive, because while that is certainly an option, I do feel like it's also very aspirational. But I do definitely want us to be leaning more towards thriving rather than just surviving. And so, to that end, I wanted to share something with you from the American Psychological Association, and that is, one, their definition of resilience. Resilience is the ability to recover from or adjust easily to misfortune or change. It's the capacity to withstand adversity and bounce back from life's downturns. Resilience is not about avoiding challenges, but rather about developing mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility to cope with them and even grow from them. Now, I think it's fairly obvious why this is so important to talk about at this time. I want to share one other thing from the APA. A number of factors contribute to how well people adapt to adversities. Predominant among them, A, the ways in which individuals view and engage with the world, B, the availability of and quality of social resources, and C, specific coping strategies. As you can tell, there are a lot of aspects to what can help foster resilience, and many of them are going to be dependent on a lot of external circumstances and situations. But there are a couple of things that are wholly within our capacity to foster within ourselves. So, one thing I want to say is that because I do believe that things will get worse before they will get better, there's really only two ways to kind of cope with the here and now. And one way is to just stop paying attention and become apathetic, become black pilled. And that is not a path that I would recommend, obviously. But that means that we are putting ourselves on the path of keeping ourselves aware and acknowledging some really fucking dark shit, witnessing violence, uh, either directly or through social media, having an understanding of just how much lawmakers and policymakers absolutely fucking hate us. Like, this is hard stuff to navigate. And so, what I will be doing during this time is I will be boning up on my emotional regulation skills and making sure that as I can and as it is available to me, I am always trying to return to that place of some degree of internal calm. And there's lots of ways to do this. Sometimes meditation can be helpful. Sometimes engaging in a hobby can be helpful. Sometimes having a good, solid support system and group of friends and network around you. All of these things can help keep us grounded. There is also therapy, which I strongly recommend if that's within your means. And also, don't forget that, if you're working with a licensed therapist and psychiatrist and whatnot, that medication is also an option. I personally do have a panic disorder that was largely under control for a super long time, and then over the last year has kind of come back to the forefront. And so I absolutely believe in using medication as a tool when necessary. But even knowing that I have that sort of emergency medication available to me, I'm still trying to do the work of providing as much for myself as I can that feels good and that feels safe, so that I know what it feels like to be calm in my body. I know what I'm trying to return to in terms of emotional regulation. In addition to learning how or practicing your skills about how to re regulate, it is also really important, I think, to foster what I have started calling hopium, that little little dash of knowing that there are good things happening even while things are so difficult right now. And if we are lucky, it is easy to find those dashes of hopium in our personal life. And but I also wanted to point to a big dash of hopium that we've just gotten in the last week and a half, and that's Zohran Mamdani. And not only does he seem to be an incredibly skilled politician and orator and public speaker, I couldn't say enough good things about him. But one of the other things that I think is where he stands out in the way he represents is that he is absolutely not backing away from the fact that he is supportive of the trans community and the LGBTQ plus community. And so there are people out there, and I don't know if you saw that election at all, but damn, that shocked a lot of people. It shook things up in the best way possible. And it really did feel like, just like I said, a little injection of hope, which I think we could all use at this time. So, anyways, I'm going to wrap it up now because my lunch break is almost over. But again, I want you to remember that as a group, resilience is already built into the fabric of queer community, just out of necessity. It has become that way. But as individuals, it really is an invitation to us at this time to lean in to our skill making so that like I said, so that one, we can survive and live through this, and two, still continue to enjoy the beauty that life has to offer, even amidst such a difficult and dark time. That's it, magical friends. I will see you soon with a new video that probably won't be part of the Pride series unless it's at the end of July and I really go several weeks without making a video, because that's when Portland Pride is. So there will probably be another Pride video around the corner. Maybe. We'll see. Anyhow, as always, don't forget to be kind and gentle with yourselves. And I will see you sooner or later.